If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to episode 13 of The Leaderboard, sponsored by good friends at TwinSpires here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz, along with contest player and co-host, good friend, Mr. Noah Mahers. We are here to cover some very exciting things going on here with the Leaderboard and TwinSpires contests for sure, including a recap of the big tournament this past weekend in Tampa Bay with a shocking winner just coming out of nowhere, somehow pulling off a miracle. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, plus a lot of other winners. And then, as Noah knows, this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, wow, it is a doozy with TwinSpires tournaments. You can check it all out on TwinSpires.com. But the two major tournaments is going to be Friday. It's the $1,000 Oaklawn Southwest Showdown, rescheduled, of course, from last week with the horrible cold, and then also rescheduled on Saturday. It's the mega tournament, $3,500 Oaklawn Horse Players Championship, known as the OHC. There are just incredible amount of seats on the line this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, with cash and prizes. This is a contest week, and you absolutely do not want to miss. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, bottom right-hand side of the screen, notification on the top right, and smash that like button below the video player. And finally, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. And of course, you can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. No, everyone's thawing out here in the Midwest. You're in Kentucky. I'm in Chicago. It was almost 30 today, and it felt like I was ready to put my bathing suit on and go swimming or something somewhere. How you doing today?
I'm good, and things are starting to slowly kind of warm up here as well. Looking forward to, obviously, this weekend. But in terms of weather, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week are supposed to be like in the 50s, which is just nonsense compared to what we've had late. So looking forward to that. Great weekend of racing, like you said, and just action-packed. It's going to be great.
Well, and most importantly, the weather in Hot Springs is not going to be hot, but actually it's going to be like unusually warm there, at least this weekend. So I know up till Friday for sure. So weather's going to be great. No more weather talk. Not only is the action heating with the contest world, no, but the Triple Crown trail is starting to heat up as well. The road to the Kentucky Derby with nearly looking very good in the Holy Bull. And of course, the Southwest Stakes this Friday as part of that contest at Oaklawn with a monster field and a $1 million purse. There's also a big 3-year-old race, the Robert E. Lewis out in California that you and Jackson and Rian on Pacific Horse Players previewed last night. Everyone should check that out as well. Just a lot of exciting stuff going on. First thing we want to do, Noah, of course, on the leaderboard here is talk about last weekend. Before we talk about the big contest of the weekend, which was the $600 Tampa Bay Derby qualifier for the KDBC. We'll talk about that contest and talk about some strategy as myself and Jackson Muniz were high up on the leaderboard there for, especially towards the end of the tournament. Of course, you were on live, I believe, talking with us through that. It was very exciting. But there are a lot of winners. There's a lot of contests going on. Hats off to Darren Zocali, by the way, I should say, always, Noah, but especially this past weekend or past week. There's a cancellation, today? I think at Turfway Wednesdays we film. It's been crazy. That makes it very difficult for everyone in the TwinSpires crew to, get everything together and make changes. But hats off and tip of the cap to Darren Zocali. He's done a great job. Why don't you talk about some of the nice winners we had over last weekend before we get into the big winner? Sort of weird for me to say that. Last weekend.
Yeah, we had a lot of them, and taking this time to take a page out of Matt's book. No pun intended there, but obviously he loves to appreciate the winners as we go, and gets a list of them. So I'll start from the top. Gwyn Houston ×2, and I should mention that these people either won a seat or placed first in a cash contest. So Gwyn Houston ×2, Amanda Couple ×2, including one that was won today. Henry Carson ×4, Adam Burgoon, Frank Paros ×3, Ryan Petruniak's on there, Matt Miller, who's also in the chat, is on there, Kevin Lux, Kevin Cornett, Steven Zare, Michael Edwards, some guy named Howard Kravitz, Joseph Carnival, Vincent Patonzo, Matt McJunkin, James Orban, Justin Danley, Frank Mustari, Tim Langlois, Stephen Young, Gregory Lesko, Todd Lane, Ronald Roth, Brian Ford, Edward D ×2, good buddy Neil Thornberry was on there a couple of days ago, Chris Denny, and Craig Amundsen. So all in all, it's cool to see old and new names up on the leaderboard.
It's also nice that you're not doing your usual college homework and actually doing homework for the leaderboard, as it should be. What's more important, of course. Noah's parents didn't hear that. There are a lot of people in the chat. Congratulations to all the winners this past week, and it's been amazing. Matt Miller, where's Matt? So Matt is in Palm Springs, California right now. He's coming home tomorrow. He's on a little week's vacation with the wife and to see some family and etc. So Matt Miller will be back actually for Weekend Warriors, which I have written down, which we'll talk about this weekend. But thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Yes, it was my day on Saturday. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Trish Smith is here. Say, hey, everyone, good luck. Hey, Trish, if you want to put in the chat, it's completely up to you. But if you recall, Noah, Trish said she was going to use that free contest money. I'm just curious if she did that and how she might have done. And by the way, that free promo ends in a week. So if you have never played a TwinSpires contest, well, it's on my mind. Let me get the banner up, Noah. If you've never played in TwinSpires contest, please make sure on the bottom of the screen you check that out. The discount code is HHH26. Again, HHH26. That is for people that have never played in a TwinSpires contest. $30 off. That ends Valentine's Day, which is a week from this Saturday. So please go ahead and use that if you have not already. But I was just getting back to the chat there. So Trish let us know about that. Bob Segura, I played my third tournament today, making progress. No, you know a lot about that, right? I mean, it's not that long ago where you just start getting into contests. It's definitely takes time and practice, no matter what your skill level is.
Yeah, it was. I think it was about 9 months ago. I played my first one on TwinSpires, so kind of feels like a while ago, just because we've been so versed with the show that we've had here and all the friends that have done well and helped out to contribute to that. But yeah, it's definitely something you get better at as time goes.
Look at Jackson Muniz. He's here, of course, does a great job in a lot of different places, but for us selfishly co-host Opposite Horse players, it's only 88 and so oh boy. That actually seems a little warm, Noah. That seems
that's
maybe
pretty warm.
too hot. Wow.
Pretty warm.
Okay. Ryan Petriniak, good friend of yours, good friend of all of ours. I have to meet Ryan soon. No, you and I are gonna have to talk about that when I'm in Lexington. I'll be there a few times actually in the next few months. So you and I we gotta talk about that. But just want to say that Jackson, the play Jackson made in the last was the exception, not the rule. That play wins a seat 95% of the time. Hashtag he's due. Well, Ryan, I know what it's like to be due because I felt like I was due up until the last few weeks. Was that today, Noah? Do you know what Ryan's talking about? Or was that I think he's talking about this past weekend.
Yeah,
the Tampa Bay one, right?
The tournament that we're about to talk about where we'll get into it. And everyone just went crazy the last race. I mean, we'll talk about it in a minute. So
yeah, some knucklehead came over the top. I don't know, whatever. Whatevs, as the kids say. Okay. I also wanted to bring up something else, Noah, that is important. So congratulations to all the winners. I'm going to read off some names, Noah. I want you to tell me, I didn't prep Noah on this. I want you to tell me what is the commonality. What do they all have in common? Are you ready? Adam Burgoon, Brett Clatworthy, Kevin Lux, Matt Bajunkin, Matt Miller, and Michael Saletta.
I'm going to say they all won seats to Saturday.
No, they are all proud members of Team HHH.
Oh, well, that was my next
How about that? So if Team HH is one of our Power Picks, our specialty premium Power Picks tip sheet, which is not that club is not available. But of course, Noah, people can subscribe to our Power Picks tip sheet, which is right here. Look below the video player. How about that transition? Look below the video player. It's been on fire. It's been really good the last 5 years, to be very honest. I don't know how much those people use our picks. I mean, obviously we're not always correct, but I like to think there's some good advice on there. So I just thought it was cool, Noah, that some of the best contest players literally in the world are members of Team HHH. How about that?
Oh, it's super cool. And sometimes it's not super fortunate where, some of the cards that we cover during the week are some of the more, premium cards are,
of course,
not within the realm of TwinSpires. So you get like your first racing, circuits and stuff like that. So, sometimes we're able to cover some tracks that are embedded within some of the tournaments that go on during the weekends. So if they're using it, they're doing well. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's been good, and I hope they are using it. I'm sure they at least take a look at it. All right, Noah, let's get into specific tournaments from this past weekend, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of information for everyone. So I'm going to put it on the screen here just a moment. We were live, of course, during this. I played in it. And you know what, Noah, I'm just going to talk for 30 seconds about myself a little bit. So I've mentioned this. Let me just keep it full screen. I've mentioned a few times I don't play nearly as much as Matt does, or Jackson, or probably, well, I know you've slowed down a little bit lately, but with work, it's very hard to play during the week for me. I really need a deep dive when I play, and so I haven't played as much. When I played, Noah, let's just say since November, December, really, since we started the partnership with TwinSpires, which, by the way, we hope to continue very soon. Our contract is ending. We hope to continue that going forward. It looks like we will be, hopefully. So that's very exciting news. But I've just had a lot of bad beats. You know what? No one wants to hear bad beat stories from me, Noah, because everyone's got bad beat stories. I was just snake bitten in tournaments. I would just lose by a head. I would hit, and then someone would come over the top, which has happened to Jackson a few times. I'd play favorites. I'd play medium level prices. It just wasn't happening for me. And I was starting to not really question my ability, but just it's frustrating, man. As you well know, because you're an excellent contest player and you've had your own frustrations. I took a few weeks off, reevaluated some things, and sure enough, I've just been fortunate in the last 3 weeks. I've won 2 KDBC seats. And then this happened on Saturday, my friend. Won the tournament at Tampa Bay, $600 qualifier for the KDBC, won my second KDBC seat. And I also finished 8th as well. So I finished first and 8th. You add up those totals, about $3,500 in cash plus the $5,000 KDBC seat. I was ecstatic. It was a 2-hitter, Noah. And, you were watching the races. I went back and looked at a few things. I can't tell you, my friend, how good it is to win races like easily. Like we're always sweating it out, sweating the photo. I mean, Quattro Centro and Aussie Girl, there's absolutely zero to worry about on both those wins in race 7 and race 9. They just went to the lead. No one really challenged them, which is incredibly frustrating for other people, not for me.
Yeah, it's always nice when you don't have to do a ton of sweating. I think we were watching the last race live, and I think Jackson had mentioned down the backside they put up the half-mile time, and he's like, if she doesn't win from here, then she's just really bad. And sure enough, obviously she got the job done. And Quattro Cento was another one that got things his own way. So like you said, it's nice to, have some horses that evade trouble versus, you play somebody and, either they don't break well or gets pushed out of the gate or have trouble, during the race. There's so many different things that can go on, which just makes this game, obviously very tough. So it's nice when we hit.
Yes, for sure. And you took a lot of money late. Let me explain everyone my play, and I'd love to hear your opinion, Noah. And if you disagree, even though it worked out for me, if you disagree, please feel free to push back. And I mean, Pete Visco doesn't have to be the only one to throw poo-poo at me during our podcast here. What I did, Noah, is something that I've done before, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. A lot of times we've talked about sacrificing one entry for the other, right? When you play 2, which is absolutely great strategy. I decided I liked Quattro Centro so much, Noah, that I actually played him only on both entries. Now, I realize that's risky, but it worked out very well for me, and I plan on doing this in the future. Whether people at home like this idea or not, it's up to you. But what I did is, I'm going to show this, Noah. I don't think you've actually seen it. I think I've just explained it. But on the main entry in race 7, I just played a double, Colcock double, all in, Quattro Centro to Disruptor, who is in the next race. So you can see I just played a 3-9 double, and I mean, I was betting $30 show bets before that. And that's basically it. I just went all in on the double, okay, on that entry. On the other entry, I didn't hedge. I didn't go like 3-10 double. I actually did that on the side. On the other entry, no, as you can see in race 7 right there, I just played exactas, 3 with 1-7, and that's it. That's it in the contest. So one entry I played all in exactas with the 3 on top, and the other entry I did all in doubles with the 3 on top. And I just made a decision. No, I'm just going to have some guts and to say, hey, if the 3 loses, I'm going to lose. I'm not going to split, I'm not going to split the entry and sacrifice an entry. And what happened is I ended up with 710 on one entry because it worked out perfectly. Fortunately for me, I ended up with 710 on one entry and 980 on the other entry, which really gave me a lot of tailwind and a lot of money going into the last 2 races.
Yeah, it worked out well. And that's kind of why I had asked you during the show that we were doing on Saturday, why you did what you did. And obviously, it ended up working out. I think it was more, I would have viewed it differently just because I didn't have a very good opinion on the back end of that double that you have right there, where Patrocino was able to get it done on the front end. And then the race after that was the one that Disruptor won. And I just thought it was kind of a weird spot. I think Jackson and I pretty much agreed about, we just weren't sure what we were going to see from him versus somebody that had a little more strong opinion. And, that's the way to go. So if it were me and I love the 3 and the 7th race, I would have maybe taken the approach of just splitting up those exactas, maybe hitting them a little bit harder. But then you never know how other things would have played out. So, obviously it worked out in your favor. And it was good that you really, hit hard the horse that you really liked on Saturday.
Well, to be very honest and full disclosure, Noah, I was ready to do it all in 310 double. When I saw the money the 9 was taking and then rewatched some of his work, I think he was working with Class President, who's a horse that we know. I know he ran second on Saturday, but it was in a stake race. The way the money the 9 was taking, I just figured he was ready, and I just sort of took a stand. I did do a 310 double on my own on the side, and then I also did a 3-6 exacta, which was with Win for the Money, who I really didn't like at all, but I did that on the side a little bit. So if it came 310 or if it came a 310 double or a 3-6 exacta, I probably would have broken even or close to even for the day. I would have been out of the tournament. I would have said, so be it. So that's what I did there. And then the last race, again, I just got lucky, folks. It just happened to work out. The irony about the last race, Noah, is that both myself and Jackson and you, although you didn't play in the tournament, we loved Aussie Girl. We did not understand the money on the 4, the Chad Brown horse, at all. We loved Aussie Girl. I'll just show everyone the PPs very quickly here. Sorry, that's not it. Aussie Girl was actually a DNF horse, which people, we joke about on the pod because I love DFF. There's little things I like more than DNFs, maybe Gallop House, I suppose. But look, people can keep making fun of me all they want to know. As long as I keep catching, it's all good by me. But it's a little misleading because Aussie Girl, in her last race that we see there, she got bobbed. There's a horse that checked, that cut in front of her. She veered way out and just got pulled up, but she was fine. She was healthy. She'd been working a few times since then. She got over a month off. There were a lot of things in her favor, and she looked like, I don't know about lone speed in this race, to be honest, but she looked like she could be tough. And with all the money that Al Jafar was taking, which none of us like this horse, and I'm assuming a lot of contest people lost with Al Jafar too, you would think.
Yeah, when we were talking about the race on Saturday, we kind of established that it was pretty clear that, we thought the 1, 4, or 5 had, in part equal chances, but it was a known fact that Aussie Girl was definitely going to have the tactical advantage compared to the 1 Candy Quest, who actually ran pretty well to get up for second into that slow pace. And then Al Jafara, who I still, it's 100 hours since that race finished up, and I still don't know why she was 2-1 and how that 5-1 exacta paid what it did. I think it was almost $24 for a dollar.
Chad Brown, baby. Chad Brown money. But
it worked out, and it was great.
And then I did something similar at the end here, Noah. I could have just gone all in on Aussie Girl, although I didn't. I did for first or second. She had to finish first or second, otherwise I zero out. Literally zero out. On the winning entry, you can see everyone. I just did a bunch of Dutch exactas with the 1, 4, and 11. Fortunately, it came 5-1, and that gave me 1,400 there. It gave me more than I thought, Noah, because I thought the exactas would go down. So that's probably the reason why I cashed bigger than I really had imagined. And then on the other entry, I played, as people can see here, I played Aussie Girl in second with the 1, 4, and 11. But what I'm proud of is I also did a nice win bet on Aussie Girl, which I didn't need to do. And I finished with 1,300. And in my mind, no, I thought that might be good enough for 2 entries. As it turns out, it went crazy at the end. And I only got the one KDBC entry. We talked about Jackson very quickly, and then we'll move on. Congrats to Brad, by the way. Congrats to Joseph Carnival and Vincent Patonzo, who also got seats. Congratulations to you guys. Lawrence Bergen, great. And then Jackson he left the putt short. But look, he smashed a win bet, Noah. Who would have figured at the time that 1560 wasn't going to be good enough?
Yeah, I think he was I think he was kicking himself just because he was on the right horse and wasn't able to get it done. But Brian Petruniak had mentioned it, one of the first couple comments on the show, where in that situation, there were just so many people that were able to cash on the 5 that you would have thought that a number like that would have been plenty good enough. And going into the last race, you were in the lead with 980. That was it.
Yes. And
that would have been 11th after the last race was over. I think 10th was just over 1,000, maybe 1040, 1043, something like that. It was crazy to see how many people had that 5 in the last race.
Yeah, it was bonkers. And I love that the last race was a stake race, by the way. That doesn't happen in this country very often. Just as a side note, I like that. Anyway, thank you. Like I said, a lot of good well wishes, and I appreciate it. And I'm playing this weekend, and look, who knows what's going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and say all of a sudden I'm like a major threat in every tournament. I've played a lot of tournaments. I've had a lot of success. I went on a crazy heater in 2022-23. Actually, when I first just started playing, Noah, I went on a heater in the Pegasus and the NHC and the UBC, so I know I'm capable of getting hot. Who knows what'll happen this weekend, but thanks to everyone and congratulations to everyone out there. All right, let's get on to this weekend now. There's 2 major tournaments we're going to talk briefly about. The first one is Friday. It's the rescheduled $1,000 Oaklawn Southwest Showdown through TwinSpires. Check it out, twinspires.com. Go to the tournament page. There are NHC seats on the line now, which perks my interest because I've still not qualified. I'm starting to ramp up my attempts to qualify, but I only have about a month left, as does everyone else, a little over a month. So we'll see. It's also, you can win seats for the $3,500 contest also, the next day on Saturday, which we'll talk about in a minute. I will talk first about Friday. Let me bring this up on screen. Let me bring up the entries. It's a great day of racing, obviously. The first thing you notice, Noah, is not only the stakes are amazing here at the end of the card, with several of them, these field sizes all weekend are absolutely monstrous. The smallest one is the Martha Washington, which is 8. Everything else is double digits. That's going to make this challenging.
Yeah, it's going to be very challenging. And the nice thing is, it seems like everything stayed pretty intact compared to, what the horses that were entered this time last week. So, hopefully we won't get a ton of scratches because, you got some big fields early. People that like to kind of establish themselves early on are really going to have to be able to hit there. And then just some nice stakes races later on that I think are going to be pretty tough. And we'll talk about here in a minute.
For sure. In terms of an early play, did you look at this card as well? I know I sort of assigned you to the Saturday one. Did you look at this card as well or no?
I did not look at the early part of the card.
Okay.
I glanced at some of the races later on, but I know you and Pete and Paul will be covering that tomorrow, so maybe you can help lead people in the right direction.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Picks and Ponies tomorrow, Thursday night. We have extensive coverage of the late pick 5 on Friday's card, which is the one we're talking about right now. In terms of early, I found a few spots people might want to consider. Race 3 is an Archie-bred race, which normally I would avoid. The number 4, Getting By, who's 8-5 morning line. For a guy that, frankly, I don't always trust, and I'd rather not say anything more than that about David Jacobson. The fact of the matter is Getting By is very fast, and he's good right now, and is going to be the favorite in that race. Does he have to win? No, because Nikolai, the 3, could win. Touchdown Arkansas, great name. Is coming back off a layoff, but had some big numbers over in the late spring last year. Lockmore, the 7, has faced Open Company. So this is no sure thing, but Getting By, the 4, might be someone people might want to consider. The number 2, by the way, Triple Up, who just broke his maiden, should not be 20-1. That's a completely ridiculous morning line. I think he's going to be half that, the number 2. So I wouldn't say it's a slam dunk for the 4 at all, no, but that is certainly a spot people might want to look at. The problem is the races before and after it I thought were very difficult. So if you're thinking about doubles, I don't know. That's a tricky spot. The other race that's worth talking about is the Martha Washington early on. I have not deep dove into this race yet, but it is a relatively small field, Noah, with 3 horses that you would think one of those 3 would win, and it's a stake race. I got a feeling this one will be a heavy contest play.
Yeah, I could see that from some other people. And Hit Parade was actually one I liked a little bit on the untappable card. I think that was the same day as the Gun Runner. I think it was a Gun Runner.
Okay.
And Hit Parade was able to get the job done there. She'd maybe be another one I'd look at to come back with, because the filly that she beat, Love Your Neighbor, came back and ran okay. I mean, she matched the buyer, and looks like she's kind of headed in the right direction for size and cogs. So I think, if maybe you're looking at that race, that may be a favorite to lean on.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it. I don't know if I'm going to play it, but I'm definitely going to look at that one carefully. Without taking too much time here, Noah, let's just get to the headliner here. There's a bunch of stake races later on. We're going to talk about, sorry, not this one. We're going to talk about the Southwest Stakes quite a bit tomorrow night, Thursday night on Picks and Ponies with myself, Paul, and Pete. I'm sure you've looked at this race. It's a monster field. There is a big scratch already from the number 5 Litmus Test, who's going to stay in California, but it's still a big field of 13. Did you give this race a quick look or a thorough look and your thoughts? And then I'll be happy to share some things. I have deep dove into this last 5 races already.
Yeah, this is a tough race. And for people that don't know, I believe Butane is going to be the one that's out on set. He's already scratched out of there. He's not going to make the flight.
No, Litmus Test. Litmus Test is out.
Okay.
Butane is running. The 3 is running. The number 5 is not for Baffert.
Okay, I always get those 2 mixed up, but it seems like there's probably going to be a pretty good amount of speed in here. I would give Liberty National one more try. I know he got a pretty good setup last time, but this is just the place that McPeak runs some of his better horses at this time in the career and progress as they get older in terms of the 3-year-old campaign. And like I said, there's going to be plenty of speed for him. Looks like he's been working really well. And Liberty National is just one. I think he was moving in a very good direction, and I don't want to, harm him too much because of the effort just last time with the setup that he's going to get. I'd like to give him one more shot. Is he going to be 10-1? I have a hard time believing that he's going to be 10-1. I'd think 5 or 6 maybe.
Just want to throw a banner on the screen to interrupt our quick convo here. Weekend Warriors, myself, Noah, and Matt Miller, the 3 of us will be here live for the Saturday contest. We're talking about the Friday one right now, but for the Saturday contest, 5, somehow the 5 o'clock got removed from the banner there. It's 5 to 6:30 Eastern, and it's going to cover the last few races on the Saturday $3,500 mega contest with NHC, BCBC, UBC, blank you and me BC, the Oaklawn BC. I mean, it just there's going to be a lot of seats available there. Did you look at my power pick tip sheet, Noah, already that I've written? Did you?
No, I don't have that. I
like this horse. I like this horse too, my friend.
Do you?
Yeah, and this was the controversial horse that I talked about too much about in like show number 3 and got some hate mail and have changed since then.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are going to do here in the contest. People are obviously going to play it. It's the last race of the day. And I don't care if I'm happy to share my opinions right now. I'm 99% positive Decode, the number 2, who ran like a banshee in his first race, is going to be favored. No bueno for me. I highly doubt I'm going to use this horse at all. I don't like the stretch out with all this other speed. We've seen this 1,000 times, Noah. You're still a relatively young guy, but you've seen it a million times too. These horses run off the screen in their debut. They face much tougher, and all of a sudden it's a different story. The first horse that comes to mind is Cornucopian. I'm not saying Decode is Cornucopian, but this is a very, very tough ask. I'm against Decode, and you know what? I don't like Butane either. I like prices here. There's a lot of speed. I like a Liberty National who didn't break well last time. I thought, there should have been an inquiry. Okay, I moved on from that. But McPeak said that he's improved. There's speed in here. The problem, though, with this horse, and we'll talk more tomorrow night. No, I don't want to take too much time tonight. is the horses coming out of the gun runner, your Chip Honchos, your Crown the Buckeyes, no bueno in the following race. Why am I drawing a blank? In the Lecomte, thank you. Does that, apparently you're not bothered by that too much?
No, because they lost to a monster in the Lecomte. No, I'm just kidding. But no.
By the way, that your monster is facing my monster next weekend, my friend. Look out at the fairgrounds.
That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
I just think style is what I'm looking at the most here.
Yeah.
I do agree. I'd be looking at a price. Decode could be very talented. He just has some questions to answer, and he's been the bee's knees down there at Hot Springs for 6 weeks. I mean, there's no way he doesn't get bet. He's just going to get way overbet in this spot. So
he's the favorite. I'd be shocked if he's not the favorite, unless people go crazy with the Baffert horse. I don't even like Butane.
He's okay.
He's okay. Maybe the stretch out's gonna be good, but he's out of a forestry mare. I don't know. I don't know. The other horse that I'm interested in, and by the way, I know this sounds like I'm just tooting my own horn, but it's really honestly more circumstantial, Noah. Silent Tactic was also a horse on our Power Picks tip sheet a few weeks ago, and he ran a bang up second in a race with 0 speed in it and made a good move. Don't be shocked if Silent Tactic runs huge with a lot more speed in the race, a race over the track. And Cassie, 7-11, I'm going to look at very hard within the contest. I don't know if I'm going to play exactas or if I'm just going to go play craps afterwards because I like the 7-11. I don't know what I'm going to do there. But I don't like the favorites in that race really at all, Noah, on paper. And I'm going with some prices. But that's a crazy way down the contest with that race.
Yeah, that's quite the doozy. And yeah, I would agree. If you want anyone out of the prep at Oaklawn last time, I think it's probably him, just because that was a day that Speed did well. Wasn't a lot of pace up front, and he made a pretty good run from off of it. So, if I'd be looking at anyone out of that race, it'd probably be him.
Yeah, it's actually not the last race. I apologize, everyone. I've said that twice now. It is not the last race. There is a race 12. So I greatly apologize. The Southwest is the second to last race, but still a lot of people are going to make big moves, I'm sure, into that race. All right, let's talk about Saturday. Saturday is the $3,500. I'm sure get the name right. Oaklawn Horse Players Championship. You can qualify for that, ladies and gentlemen. I think throughout the week, Noah. I don't know if you've looked at during the week schedule.
Yeah, so they've for the one on Saturday, they've got one. They had one today at Aqueduct. Okay. They have one tomorrow at Aqueduct for $500 if you want to win your way in. And they've also got one Friday, $700 Turfway feeder. So you can any of those, you can win your way in to get that $3,500 seat.
You're a Turfway guy. I don't know. You're not incapable of throwing some money out there on that one to try to qualify. Again, there are a ton of seats on the line. Let's go to, I didn't go to the contest page. A little bit of a host fail here. Let's go ahead and do that so people can see what we're talking about here. So again, coming up, so the one we just talked about is right here, $1,000 Oaklawn Southwest Showdown. And then after that, here it is on Saturday, $3,500. Look what's on the line, Noah. NHC, BCBC, KDBC, UBC, which is the Ultimate Betting Challenge as well. It's a $2,500 bankroll, Noah, which is great. So the percentage is different. It's what, 5/7, math teacher, 5/7 bankroll, 2/7 prize pool. You're starting at $2,500, my friend. That's a lot of money to start with, and I'm assuming Sparks are going to be flying with a lot of contest money on the line there in seats. Here is the card right now. Not as many stakes. Actually, there's only one, as the main stakes are on Friday. But again, no, look at these field sizes. There's a field size of 7, which is actually the stake race, the Bayacoa. Mm-hmm. After that, there's 2 fields of 9, and then the other, 8 races are all double digits. So again, monster fields. Noah, you've already deep dove into this card. I have not yet, although I plan to. What say you possibly as an early play on Saturday's contest?
I like a runner in race 5, and that's the 2 Overcome Adversity. Speaking of Turfway, this actually was a horse I ran at Turfway last time, but I've got friends that are smarter than me that actually make their own figures, and they've told me multiple times that her maiden win at Keeneland was much better on other figures than it was the industry figures. And that was a pretty big race. I mean, she got 80 by her that time. I think she got a 1:11 time form, which is a pretty big first out, especially for a 3-year-old filly at that time. And then she had been off for a long time. Clearly, she had some issues. And I just think the turf weight race was simply a comebacker. You know, she didn't break well. She was way out the back, made a big run to finish second in there. And if you go to the chart, if you click on the chart over on the left side of the screen over there.
Of the turf weight race?
Yes, please. And you go to incremental pace, I think.
Yeah.
You can see she came home in 30-1, and the winner came home in 30-3, which in theory she came home 2 lengths faster than the winner that day. And then just look at the rest of the field. I mean, she came home at least 6 lengths faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
She was really closing into that race. Maybe set up a little bit for her, but I just think it was more of a starting point to maybe get her to this race here at Oaklawn. She's got to stretch out. She's a pretty big filly with some big strides, so I don't think the stretch out's going to be much of a problem for her. And there's a good amount of speed. The horses to her inside and outside, the 1 and 3 are pretty quick, which in theory might make things a little tight, but the 9's also quick. So there's really going to be some speed to set things up. And I like to switch to Sayas, and Shire is very capable.
I like it. What morning line do you think we're thinking of there? Because they are not out yet, or did I?
No, they are. She is 7-2, I believe.
I'm just refreshing. I'm sure it's going to pop up now. To our good friends at Oaklawn. No, it didn't. But okay, 7-2.
Yeah.
First time going 2 turns. Just want to mention that to people.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that's a negative, but interesting. Out of Wildcat Air mare, which is sort of sprinty, but there's definitely routing.
Yeah.
Pedigree. Oh, have to. She's looking lucky. Interesting. Wow. Okay. Interesting horse there. I like it, Noah. So maybe overcome adversity there early on Saturday, race 5. What about late, my friend?
Let's go to the last race because this is going to be a very important race come about 6:15 Eastern on Saturday. I couldn't really get by either of the 2 favorites, the 6 Justice Edition or the 8 Buckeye favorite. I mean, this is not a great group of horses in general, but I thought when I watched the replay of the 6 last time, I thought it was a little more visually impressive than what it looks like on paper. She didn't break all that great. She was really in tight, kind of had to make a middle move into that slow pace to kind of get into the contention. And then the 2 in front of her, she just wasn't getting to those 2 that day. So I think this is a little more favorable setup for her. And then the 8, who I guess you can make a case for, she's just been facing better. Some of her prior races, her first and second start, would lay over this field completely, but she just hasn't shown a ton of promise in those last 3 races. And maybe this is just the level that she deserves. And, she's got speed in her as well and gets Lasix for the first time, which is not going to hurt. So it's probably one of those 2. If one of those firsters, pops big, I don't know much about them, but if they run well, maybe they can have a chance. But I think it probably runs through either the 6 or the 8.
And what are those morning lines that I don't have them on the screen?
I think the 8 is 2-1 and the 6 is 5-2.
Now, look, you made cogent arguments for the 6, but we all know why you like the 6. And I don't know if apparently you didn't. Well, you might have noticed it.
I did.
But you did notice it.
I did.
Bred by University of Kentucky. As most people know, Noah is a senior ending his career at the University of Kentucky. Is Jimmy Creed, is that stallion like hanging out like somewhere by your house, or just you check out on once in a while, or what's going on there?
I have not, but it'd always be nice to win one for the home team.
Yeah, very. Where do they actually do the breeding on campus? Like, do you actually know? Or do you know what that involves? And in all seriousness, I'm assuming that's with the students that are part of the equine studies program. I'm assuming they either get to see the breeding or find out about the breeding. I mean, they've got to be involved some way other than just money and ownership or breedership, I would think.
Yeah, so they own a lot of actually like the local farms over by Kearney Hill Golf Course, which you've actually been to. So they own a lot of the farms. And funny enough, a fun fact is I believe University of Kentucky owns the most land out of anybody in the state of Kentucky. So they have a good chunk of land that they use for a lot of those resources, of course. So
interesting.
A little fun fact.
Talk about hands-on education right there. Got it. All right. Maybe we should just stop talking about that situation. But anyway, you gotta learn and see how it's done at some point, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to be studying in equine studies. A lot of fun, Noah. Look, these are expensive tournaments, right? Let's just call it like it is. That's the great thing about TwinSpires, ladies and gentlemen. As Noah mentioned, there are plenty of tournaments. I'll just end the show again by just going to the website. There are a ton of feeder tournaments this week. Tomorrow, Thursday, you see there's Aqueduct, as I already mentioned by Noah. There's a Turfway Challenger 50, another Turfway feeder. Although some of them feed into other tournaments like the Risen Star and the Sam F. Davis. But there's the Oaklawn feeder tomorrow for the Oaklawn Southwest Showdown. So again, there are plenty of feeders, Noah. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get into these big tournaments Friday and Saturday. You can win your way in through the feeders.
Yeah, that's the name of the game for me, because I'm on a college budget and I don't have the money to pony up like that. So I'm always trying to win my way in. I would just say be careful to make sure which ones you sign up for, because they got so much stuff going on. Sometimes it can get a little confusing. So just make sure you're winning the seat to the right one.
Yeah, and you can contact Darren Zocali. He'll be happy to through DM or email. He'll be happy to help you out, and make sure you read the rules very carefully, as Noah mentioned. No, it's been a lot of fun. The leaderboard. It's always fun to talk about wins. Once in a while, you and I get lucky. And again, I want to thank everyone. Look, it was just I shouldn't say just, but I've got some bigger fish to fry this weekend. Hopefully, you'll come through for me. There's a lot of stake races, a lot of really good racing throughout the country, and a lot of seats on the line through TwinSpires contest. For Noah Maher, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 13 of the leaderboard. Crush your bets in any TwinSpires contest you play this weekend. Take care. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.